Alright, so last class we worked on surface area and volume, rectangular prisms, and of cylinders. We're going to continue doing that today. Alright, so the first problem says find the volume of this rectangular prism. Alright, so if we look back at our formula sheet, we know that the formula is volume is equal to the length times the width times the height. So we'll call 4 the length, 2 the width, and 3 the height. So plug it in. 4 times 2 times 3. Should be a V right there. And we get volume is equal to 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 3 is 24 feet cubed. Okay, so now the question says if we multiply the height by 3, what is the new volume? So the height is now 9. The length is still 4, and 2 is still the width. So the formula is length times width times height. So 4 times 2 times 9. So you get 8 times 9, which is 72 feet cubed. Alright, so the question is, how many times bigger is the volume of the new shape? So what we could do there is divide 72 divided by 24. And when you do that, you get 3. Let's try another one. Okay, so we do volume is equal to length with height. Length is 2.5, width is 3, height is 6. 2.5 times 3 times 6. Okay, so 2.5 times 3, I believe that's 7.5. Let me check that. It's 2.5 times 3, yeah, 7.5 times 6, which is 45 centimeters cubed. Okay, so now we multiply the length by 2, so the length becomes 5 instead of 2.5. So take this length here times 2 to get 5. The width is still 3, and height is 6. So 5 times 3 times 6. That's 15 times 6, which is 90 centimeters cubed. How many times bigger is the volume of the new shape? You could divide 90 by 45 and get 2 times bigger. Okay, the next example. So we'll take the length and divide it by 2. So we'll take this 4 here, divide it by 2 to get 2. Okay, so LWH. Okay, so 4 times 1.5 times 2. 4 times 1.5 is 6. 6 times 2 gives you 12. So 12 inches cubed. Okay. So we divided the length by 2 to get 2. So 2 times 1.5, which is 3. And then 3 times 2, which is 6 inches cubed. So how many times smaller is the volume of the new shape? So it's twice as small. Or it's half original size. So it's twice as small or half the original size. Alright, so what can we conclude about what changing one measurement does to the volume? So if we look back, we multiply the height by 3 to get 9. Our volume was multiplied by a factor of 3, because 24 times 3 gives you 72. Multiply the length by 2, 45 times 2 gives you 90. We divided the length by 2, 12 divided by 2 gives you 6. So the volume changes according to the scale factor. Okay, now let's see what happens with surface area. Okay, so we have the same rectangular prisms. Let's find the surface area. So 2, the length is 4, the width is 2, plus 2, length is 4, height is 3, plus 2, width is 2, and height is 3. 2 times 4 is 8, 8 times 2 is 16, so we have 16 plus 2 times 4 is 8, 8 times 3 is 24, plus 2 times 2 is 4, times 3 is 12. When you add those together, 16 plus 24 plus 12, you get 52 feet in its area, so we'll square it. Let's try this next one. So this time, we've taken our height here, 3, and multiplied by 3 to get 9. Okay, so we have length, height, width. Okay, so 2 times 4 times 2 plus 2 times 4 times 9 plus 2 times 2 times 9. Alright, so 2 times 4 is 8, 8 times 2 is 16, plus 2 times 4 is 8, 8 times 9 is 72, plus 4 times 9 is 36. Okay, so we add those numbers together, 16 plus 72 plus 36, we get 124 feet squared. So how many times bigger is the new surface area? So if we took 124 and divide that by 52, we get, we'll round to 2 decimal places, 2.38 times. Okay, next example. This time, multiply the length by 2. So the length goes from 2.5 to 5. Okay, so we have the formula. Okay, so length, width, height. So 2 times L, so 2 times 2.5 times 3 plus 2 times 2.5 times 6 plus 2 times 3 times 6. 2 times 2.5 is 5, 5 times 3 is 15, 5 times 6 is 30, then we get 6 times 6, which is 36. Add those together, 15 plus 30 gives you 45. 45 plus 36 is 81 centimeters squared. I'll highlight my answers here. Okay. So 2 LW, so 2 times 5 times 3 plus 2LH, 2 times 5 times 6 plus 2WH. 2 times 5 is 10, 10 times 3 is 30, plus 10 times 6 is 60, plus 6 times 6 is 36. So we add those together, we get 90 plus 36, which is 126 centimeters squared. So how many times bigger? We'll divide 126 by 81, and we get about 1 5/10 repeating. Alright, last example. This time we divide the length by 2. The length goes from 4 to 2. So 2LW, 2. And again, it doesn't matter what you label your length, width, and height, as long as you make sure that every number has been plugged in to the formula. 2 times 4 times 1.5 plus 2 times 4 times 2 plus 2 times 1.5 times 2. Alright, so 2 times 1.5, that's 3. 3 times 4 is 12. It's 8. 8 times 2 is 16. 3 times 2 is 6. Alright, so we get 12 plus 16 plus 6. When you add those up, you get 34 inches squared. Okay, then we do the other one. Why don't you try it and check your work with me? Okay, so I got 20 inches squared, so how many times smaller is the new surface area? So we'll divide those. It's about 1.7 times smaller. So what can you conclude about what changing one measurement does to the surface area? So if we look, 52 changed to 124 by a scale factor of 2.38. And that's when we multiply the height by 3. If we multiply the length by 2, it changed from 81 to 126, which was a scale factor of 1.5, repeating. Then dividing by 2, it went from 34 to 20, which is about 1.7 times smaller. So we'll say changing the attribute does change the size. So changing the attribute affects surface area, but not by a scale factor. Just to be sure that we're good, let's try one word problem. Let's look at number 7 on page 122. Why don't you try it and then check your work with me? Okay, so I did the volume for the first prism, and I got 1050 centimeters cubed. So if we decrease the width by a scale factor of 5, you can just divide 15 and 5 to get 3. So the new width is 3. That gives you 210 centimeters cubed. You could also just do 1050 divided by 5 and get 210. So for your practice problems, let's finish page 121 and 122.